Welcome to Hope in the Face of Cancer, where we share real stories of courageous people in their cancer journey. Today, we have the great privilege of speaking with a man whose journey of hope, compassion, and faith has touched the lives of so many. Leonard Donaldson is a 32-year survivor of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, who has dedicated much of his life to supporting others on their cancer journeys. Since becoming a CanCare volunteer in 2000, Leonard has served over 100 clients facing cancer. He brings a unique wisdom and empathy that others have described as a sixth sense, an almost instinctive ability to understand and connect with clients when they need it most. His heart for service and his unwavering faith have made him one of the most beloved members of the CanCare community. Leonard, welcome to the show today.
Hello. How's everybody doing today?
Oh, we're all doing fine. We're so thrilled to have you. I know our listeners have heard a lot about you through other people who have been on our podcast. So I'm so thrilled that we got you on today.
I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Well, I'd love to start with your journey. And I know it's been quite some time since you heard those words, you have cancer, but can you take us back to that day and just tell us a little bit about your diagnosis and the start of your journey?
Like you said, I'm a 32-year cancer survivor, and I still remember it like the whole drama, like it was yesterday.
Wow.
October 29th will be actually my 32 year when I was diagnosed, 32 years ago when I was diagnosed. So it all started in was out working. I was in the Virgin Islands doing some work for oil and gas business I was in. And I started feeling ill down on the islands. And so I decided to come back to the States and go to the doctor. And I went and they really didn't do too much, but she thought maybe you just picked up some type of virus or something while you were down overseas. And so he gave me some antibiotics. He said, take these for 10 days and you should be okay. So I went through the whole process of taking all the antibiotics, and the 10 days passed, and I still didn't feel any better. In fact, I was getting worse. I started getting night sweats and fevers, and I was losing weight. And I just went back to the doctor again, and I told him, look, there's something that's wrong, and I need you to do a full checkup. And so that's what he decided to do. And it was doing the x-ray, where they call it, the tumor that was in my chest area. And that kind of began the whole treatment process. I started getting this regular chemo at a local hospital here. And but the doctors saw that I was going to probably need more than just regular going to a hospital, and they're giving you some chemotherapy, so you probably need to go to a cancer center.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was referred to local MD Anderson Cancer Center here.
So how long were you in treatment, the various forms of treatment that you had to go through?
It was like a 2.5 year journey from beginning to end. From the day I was diagnosed is when I began to count. It was like 2.5 years of, first of all, it was, like I said, the chemotherapy. Then it was the bone marrow transplant. And then they decided to do some radiation as well. And in between those, I had a couple of different surgeries, biopsies and surgeries and things like that.
So how did you get support in that time? I mean, who or what was it that kept you strong during 2.5 years of treatment?
I had relied a lot on my family, my parents. They lived out of state, and they would come down here regularly, stay with me, my siblings. And then I had a lot of support from my job. least in the beginning. Anyway, after a year or two, things kind of, people kind of drop back. They don't call you as much. They don't do anything as much for you, but they're still there. And of course, had friends at my church, but they stayed regularly. They were pretty faithful.
Yeah. At what point did you decide, when you got through your treatment, that you wanted to give back? I mean, you've been a volunteer now for 24 years, which is so incredible. What prompted that for you?
When you go through the cancer experience, it takes a lot away from you. I tell people, you're not the same person you had before cancer, afterwards, the cancer experience. And it affects people differently. Everybody cancer has their own story. But one thing everybody has in common is they're not the same after cancer. And I felt that way. I tried to just go back to work and regular routine and things like that, but it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. And so then that's when I heard about our church was trying to get a cancer support ministry going, a group of people with cancer survivors, things like that. So I said, well, that might be something I want to get involved with. But it wasn't quite what I really wanted. It seemed like it was more of a session where you just kind of sit around in a group and everybody gave the cancer story, and then you may go out for a dinner or have a fellowship somewhere out. But it wasn't hitting what I really wanted. I knew it was something still missing.
Yeah.
And that's how I heard about CanCare. Matter of fact, a volunteer came to our church to speak, and they wanted to do a training class, and they wanted to know was anybody interested. And they said, but it's like 17 hours over 3 days. So they said, it's not like you just go one day and leave. It's a lot. You have to be here all 3 days, basically 2.5 days. I really working. And so that's really how it started. And once I started listening, other people really telling their story and how that now that they are training to be a volunteer, this is what they were looking for. And I realized this is what I want to do. I want to really not only just talk about, but I want to give back to somebody. I want to, because I didn't have CanCare when I had cancer.
Right.
And that was like you kind of lived in the world by yourself, even though you were around hundreds of people sometimes.
Yeah.
You still felt like it's just you right there. And
nobody who could truly relate to what you're going through.
You wanted to tell people, and that's what I got when I was at the CanCare training. I got to be able to tell my story, and people understood. I mean, I see people eyes tear up because it reminds them of their journey and how they had trouble getting through, or they didn't really have anybody per se to talk to during their cancer journey.
Yeah. Well, you graduated from that training and started to take on clients, and clients in our world is anyone facing cancer, anyone with a cancer diagnosis who comes to us for support. So tell us, and as I mentioned in my intro, you've served over 100 clients in your time. The impact you've had has just been extraordinary. Tell us a little bit about the early days of you volunteering. Kind of what was that experience like, in case there's someone listening who might be thinking, maybe that's something I want to do. How did you get started? Was it scary at first? Just tell us a little bit about that.
I was more excited than I think scared, because now I was going to finally get a chance to do something I really wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And that was help people who were battling cancer, and be there for them, because I didn't have that person with me. And I never wanted somebody to have that feeling ever again. I wanted to be able to help anybody I could. So I was kind of excited when I finally got my first referral. And I remember the gentleman who I spoke with and talked with, and he was just so ecstatic. He said, "Man, can't wait till we talk again." And, so we kind of bonded right off. And so that kind of got really, kind of broke the ice for me. Because I never, after that point on, I would just, hey, give me another referral. I'm ready. And at times I would have 4 or 5 different people at one
Wow.
time I would call at different times of the week or the day. And I never had no specific schedule. I just kept a little diary uh, and everybody's information inside of it. And that I would just turn and go back to that person. Then I would write a little bit about them. I would talk to them on the phone. And as I was talking, I would always write down what they were saying, learn to listen to what they're saying to you, because they want to know if they talk to you again and you can bring back up. But
Yeah.
if you talk to them again, you don't have no idea what you were talking about last time. But I was able to go back, and then that's how I kept it. That was my way of keeping track with all of the volunteers I had. I mean, all the referrals I had.
Yeah. No, that's great counsel, because everyone's situation is unique. And I'm sure you found that in all the people you served. There's probably no two that were exactly alike. And by you taking the time and effort to just really get to understand their story, I'm sure that meant a lot to them.
Yes, it did. I mean, because all of a sudden now, like, they have somebody that they may not have exactly all the different things. Because I would talk to them about their treatment, and because, like I say, it was 10 years after when I actually became a volunteer after uh, cancer treatment, and each one of them, what you said, were they just had something totally different. Their
Yeah.
stories, their life, their lifestyle, um, where they lived at, where they grew up, and how they got to Texas, or it was just a lot of different stories, and each one was unique.
I'm sure serving so many people, you've got so many memories and so many stories that you can recall. But is there a particular story that has just really stuck with you and been impactful for you?
Yes, I had a couple of referrals that I don't know if I should mention the name or not, but
No.
anyway, I had a couple of really good referrals that we kind of really built a relationship. I mean, there's still people like I call every now and then, and a lot of them really, some want to talk and some really don't want to talk about the cancer. That's just
Yeah.
bad memories. And they said they'd rather not talk about it. And thanks for calling me when I had cancer. And then were those who wanted to hear from you again.
Yeah.
And you build those lifelong relationships with them.
Yeah.
And I still have them today. Still have their number in my phone.
Yeah.
And we still talk regularly. Every now and then we might go to lunch or just meet up somewhere and talk. And yeah, sometimes, they might be having a relapse, kind of one of those days where, you're just feeling it. It's like you start thinking about your past and what you've been through. And then you just want to share with somebody. And so I have friends like that too, that were on the same cancer journey, and like I was. And we have that friendship now.
Yeah.
CanCare gave me lifelong friends.
Well, that's beautiful. Yeah. Well, two of those lifelong friends we've had on the show before, and they've mentioned you, so we can definitely mention them.
Okay.
Michael Wiesenthal, I mean, certainly, he has said, man, he really got a brother, out of the journey with you, that you're family now, and that's just so beautiful.
Yeah, just being able to see him, then I could see how it really impacted him, because he had 2 children, and I saw them grow up. I got a chance to see them grow up, and now they're just, they're grown-ups now. And I remember when they were young, and he was afraid for them because he didn't really know how he was going to get through this whole thing. And he would talk about, when we were talking about, because I had a daughter as well, and we didn't talk about cancer. We talked about the kids and what they were going to do and what they're doing now. And I asked how they're doing at school, and, and it's how to get his story off. And he felt that we bonded with those type of things, and we would go about it. And I remember when we first decided that we were going to work together at CanCare, we wanted to do something, and we got to talking about it. And one day they asked us, hey, how about sharing the survivors day luncheon. And I kind of looked at them. I thought, are they really serious? Are they asking us to do this? I said, yeah. I said, that sounds like fun. That'd be great. And we got a chance to do that, and that was really wonderful. I told people that was like 2 months long being a celebrity in Houston. We were everywhere. We were on TV, we were on the radio, we were did talk shows, and we did special tapings, and yeah, it was great leading up to
Um,
the whole event, and then all of a sudden it was over. Go back to non-celebrity status.
oh, you're always a celebrity in our book for sure. I mean, people still talk about that particular luncheon and the video testimonies and things y'all made together that we're still using today that are so powerful. Another guest we had on our show recently was Keith, and Keith was talking about how you have some kind of sixth sense because he said he could go months and months without talking to you. But whenever there was a moment in his life, whether it was a recurrence or, a test result he was waiting for, he always seemed to get a call from you without ever having to reach out. And so you have a bit of a reputation for just being connected to people in a very special way. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with Keith.
Keith, he was kind of saying, like, say, he was like totally different from Michael. He was like, he had a career and he worked at his own business, and but I could tell that it really impacted him different because me and Michael, we would laugh, we would joke, we never really broke down that much.
Yeah.
But Keith, he kind of let go. He learned how to let go. Sometimes I could hear him crying on the other end of the phone.
Yeah.
And we would just talk for hours, and I would just tell him, look, it's going to be okay, Keith. You're going to make it through this. And he was thanking me over and over. And I said, you don't have to keep thanking me. I know how you feel. I said, because I know
That's
what it's
right.
like to really finally talk to somebody. He said, you don't know how much this makes me feel. That he says, I talk to my dad and my friends and family, but he said they just don't seem to get it how I'm feeling. I said, yeah, I know that feeling too. So
Yeah.
but anyway, we bonded through that, and like I said, he was totally different from what the relationship was with Michael, but both of them the same were good people in my life that we are friends, like say lifelong friends.
Yeah. Well, I'd imagine every single client that you served, every single life that you touched, their stories were different, and you met them where they were and you gave them, what they needed in that moment. And that's made a lifelong impact on so many people. And so we're so grateful for your service and your heart. And either are people out there listening who can make the same kind of impact, in someone's life. For someone who may be on the other side of their cancer journey and never really thought about giving back and supporting someone in that way, what would you tell them?
I kind of always remember, I can say, and I go back to Ann Turney. I remember
Yeah.
giving the story about crossing the bridge. He said, when they're diagnosed with cancer, it's kind of like crossing the bridge. He said, you're walking down the wrong way and you see people on the other end of the bridge, and you see people back behind you. And those people behind you are the ones who are fighting cancer to get across the bridge. The people on the other end are people who are telling you to come on across the bridge. And to me, that's where it is. You meet people, somewhere on that bridge of life, and the currents may be running under the bridge, but you tell them, look, stay focused on making it to the other side. That's what you do, one day at a time, one step at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time. Whatever that is for you, that's how you have to work. But more than anything, don't go back. Just keep going forward, because there's other people on the other side of the bridge are waiting for you to get there. They're waiting to see you. They're waiting to congratulate you. It's kind of like ringing the bell, at the hospital when you're checking out. Finally, you
Yeah.
get a chance to laugh for a moment, and everybody gathers around, and the big moment where you ring the bell and everybody starts congratulating, hugging you, some of the nurses are crying because they say, "Oh, but you don't see you no more. It's been, a couple of years since you've been here, and you're just like one of the family now, and you feel like you're just leaving off and going back to your life." I said, yeah, probably won't see most of y'all ever again. I hope not, but I see it in a good way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I don't want to be back here doing this again. They understood what I meant, though.
Yeah.
I really appreciate all the help. I mean, the doctors, the nurses, the technicians, and even everybody from those who were bringing you food, nighttime snacks while you're in the hospital. And you just were so thankful that you had so many people around you that really cared. And those were the people that were waiting on the other side of the bridge when you got there. And they just tell you to keep on walking now. You made it over the bridge, just keep on going in life and see wherever it takes you, we know you do well. So, and that's kind of it with that group.
I had never heard that story. That's interesting. I still talk to Anne today. She's 97 years young.
Wow.
And still so passionate about providing support to anyone facing cancer. She just moved into a retirement community, but she's already, talking to people and trying to recruit people. And,
she's a wonderful person, man. Like,
yeah.
I got a chance to meet her in person. And so that's when I heard that story she had about the bridge and everything.
And,
but
she's incredible.
I know it. And that was probably 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned this, and she's mentioned this too. You can have an incredible community around you, whether it's the healthcare team that are phenomenal people, your friends, your family, people who love you. And yet, even if you're surrounded by a loving community, it can still be so isolating because they can't quite understand what you are going through. And just that ability to really be raw with how you're feeling with someone who truly understands is such a gift. And those who may be listening who are on the other side of that bridge, I'd love for them just to think about that gift that they could give to someone facing cancer today by truly understanding.
Yeah. And I would encourage anybody that's considering it to do it. It'll change their life. I mean, being part of a CanCare family, it will change their life. If they feel like they're missing out on something in life, they'll gain so much by being a CanCare volunteer because you just never know where it's going to take you, the people you're going to meet, the experiences you're going to have, and it just takes you to a whole new different world. And then you feel good about yourself because you're actually now giving something back. Because you're thankful that you made it through, and now you get the opportunity to see other people. And I see, Michael go through his treatment. I saw Keith go through his whole treatment, and the distance sometimes we would have between times we would talk, but then there were times we would just talk regularly. And then I realized sometimes I just kind of back off of them. I don't want to be too much on them or getting to think that I'm really, getting involved in their personal life too much. I just kind of let them go, and I said, hey, I'll check with you in a few weeks if I don't hear from you. And kind of leave it at that. But I would always want to make sure that I would call them back.
Yeah, everyone's needs are different, and you just you meet them where they are. Yeah. Well, it's you've touched so many lives, but in the process, your life has been touched and changed as well. How have you grown and changed by serving over these last 24 years?
It's just taught me to be, for one thing, to be more of a giver than a taker. To be more into giving back to other people than just myself, and just learn to be a good listener. And sometimes we'd be watching TV or something. I'm like, what did they say? And I said, oh, okay. And Because I said, I'll be listening. I said, I'm listening. It was one of the skills they taught us to learn to do.
Yeah.
But I'll always be was a pretty good listener. I used to love because my mother used to always she would give us stories,
Mm.
and we listened to these stories and before bedtime or something like that. And so I think I got that skill from my mother because she was a great storyteller.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. So I know it's been a few years since you went through training to be a CanCare volunteer, but you may recall that we ask everyone what the gift of cancer was in their life. And for many people, they hear that and like, what are you talking about, a gift? But after reflection, there's always something. So what was the gift of cancer in your life?
Uh, it gave me a strong appreciation for life. I think I didn't take a day for granted anymore. Even when you don't feel good, even like, you're not feeling well on a certain day, but you just don't take it for granted that you're going to get another one. And so I tell people, just take every day as a blessing and appreciate that day, no matter what you're going through, how bad it may seem like it is. But if you get through this day, you get another one and another one and another one. Appreciate that. Appreciate that life and living for life. And that's why, when we say giving back and volunteering, that to me is it's giving back. And it makes me feel better. It made me a different person, as I say. You're going to be different. I tell people, you're going to be different if you go through CanCare, the training, and then start meeting people. It will change you. It'll change your whole perspective on how you not only view cancer, but view people in general.
Yeah.
You just try to look at the better side of them and not necessarily things that you say, oh, well, I don't really care about that person. I don't like that about. No, I just try to look at the things that I could say. Hey, they had a good conversation with them. They were in a good mood today, or try to find something, glean something out of that positively, and not necessarily negatively. Just to kind of live life like that. And people would say, wow, you just seem like you're always in a good mood, this and that. I said, no, I have those days. I said, it's not always. I have those days too.
Absolutely. We all do. For those who may be listening today who have just newly been diagnosed, what message would you want them to hear from you today?
Kind of like when I mentioned, I just take it a day at a time. Just don't try to, like I say, eat the whole turkey at once. Just maybe eat a leg or eat a drumstick or slice off a piece of the wrist and eat it. And then just enjoy that as you go through, because people say, wow, how can a person be happy when they have cancer? Seems like, every day is just bad and doom and gloom. It's like you got something inside of you that's trying to kill you. How can you be happy? But I try to tell them, look, you just need to take it as it comes, because if your journey is going to be as long as mine, believe me, you need to take it a day at a time, because you start thinking about what I'm going to do next year or how I'm going to handle my job 6 months from now. I said, that's just too far. I said, you're taking on too much on yourself. I said, if you get through tomorrow and you still have a job, be thankful that day. And then do the next day. Go to your treatments. Talk to your doctors. And then, talk to your family as well. Let them know how you're really feeling, because, they feel sorry for you. They really feel bad. They really don't totally understand, but they feel for you.
Yeah.
Family members, he would call sometime and they would just, oh man, I just feel so sorry for you. I hate to hurt you had cancer. And I said, no, I believe I'm going to be okay. I believe I said, I fought a lot of battles and stuff in my corporate life. And I said, this is just another challenge that I have to face. And that I truly believe that I'm going to beat it. I truly believe it all the time. And even when I have the setback, some days I go to the doctors, oncologists, and they give me bad news. He said, well, The mass is not hadn't really shrunk much in the last couple of months. It's kind of like going dormant. It's not really seem like the chemo is not really working like it should. And we're gonna try some different drugs though. And but then that's when I heard about an experimental procedure that they were doing called bone marrow transplant. Because when I got it, it was experimental. It wasn't something they were doing every day. And they said, well, he said, you're a young man. He says, you'll be a good candidate for this bone marrow transplant. He said, but it's going to be a rough journey. But I said, it could be no worse than it is now. So, I mean,
let's do it.
I said, let's do it. And so it was tough. It was during those that high dose chemo it was tough. Those were some tough days. But now people say it's not as bad as it is anymore. I talk to people now that get a bone marrow transplant. They said, oh yeah, that wasn't that bad. I said, well, when I got it, it was bad. I said 30 plus years ago, it was bad.
Yeah, technology and science has come such a long way. It's really incredible.
People said, he said, because I think I was in there like 45 days in a row. And he was like, oh, no, I'm only there a couple of weeks, And I said, no. I said, you wouldn't have walked that in a couple of weeks if you had it when I had it, the bone marrow transplant. But I'm just glad it did. Got so much better now.
Yeah.
Treatment's so far advanced now.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
We have caregivers who listen to our podcast as well. And, we talked about how for the patient going through cancer, it's really hard for anyone in their immediate family who may be caring for them to truly understand and empathize. What kind of advice would you give to a caregiver who's currently loving someone and caring for someone with cancer? What advice would you give them?
I would kind of give the same thing to teach them to learn to be a good listener.
Yeah.
Let that person learn to talk to you, instead of just telling them, well, this is what you should be doing, or you should giving all the advice. Just listen to them.
Just listen. Yeah.
Just listen, hear their story. Because a lot of times, like you say, cancer, you can feel great in the morning and everybody thinks you're feeling good, having a good day. And by that afternoon, you're so down and people say, I thought you said you were fine. Well, I was this morning.
So expect the unexpected as a caregiver.
Who knows where they're going to be at, because it's just, this roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes you're up and then you start thinking about, man, I got to go do this chemo. I just started feeling better, and now I got to go take chemo today. And, you start thinking about all those things. But if you listen to them, you can hear what they say and really listen to them. And don't take it for granted that, oh, yeah, you're going to be fine. Yeah, that's such and such, No, hear them out. Hear out what they're saying, because they may be trying to tell you something and they just want you to hear them out. Listen to them. So I would tell them, just learn more than anything to be a good listener.
Yeah. And they're not looking for you to solve anything necessarily. They just want you to hear them. And I think as caregivers, we so want to fix it,
Yeah, you just you want to try to do something, but then you make it worse trying to be their doctor, whereas you're a caregiver. It's what you are. You're caring for somebody that you love that are going through a difficult time right now.
Yeah, your job's to love them.
And your job is to love them. Whatever it is, wherever they're at on that day, don't say, look, I had enough of you. You say you're good and doing well. Now you tell me you're doing bad. And now you sit just sad. And just a while ago, you were happy. So what do you want me to do? You can't have that attitude with them, because they're going through a difficult time. And sometimes their emotions are very raw. You just don't know what I feel like today. I don't know what I feel like today. I'm just trying to make it through today. And understand that as a caregiver, understand that, yes, today is different than the last time you talked to them.
Yeah.
So treat it as that way. That's why you kind of listen to what they do. You can kind of tell all the times I call, referral now, and I can kind of tell when they're down. You can't hear it in the voice. They may have had a bad, like I say, had a bad report or something like that, or just feel like giving up, But you just have to listen to them and encourage them to stay in there, because you're not the first one and you won't be the last. And so you can be an example to somebody else that's coming behind you.
That's
To
right.
be that person, like I'm being that person to you. I just want you to give. I said, because you don't owe me anything. I just want you to give it back what you got. Help somebody else. Help another person with cancer. That's how we grow. I said, that's how CanCare grows. One person
right.
helps another person. That person helps another person, and before you know, we're helping it. Everybody's helping each other, and that's a good thing. That's really a good thing, that we can live in a world where people really want to help somebody and not want something out of it. Get something back out of it.
Right. No, pay it forward. Yeah.
And pay it forward, like the old saying.
That's right.
Somebody bought something to you. Somebody bought you a coffee. You can say, I'll buy you another one next time I see you. No. Just get somebody else, somebody you don't even know. Just say, hey, okay.
I think about, the 100+ lives that you have touched in the one-on-one relationships as a volunteer, and the impact that they have had by paying it forward. Many of them have gone on to become volunteers themselves, or just been that listening ear to someone in their life. So we just want to thank you for the incredible impact that you have had on our cancer community over decades. Thank you for your heart and the love that you've shown so many people, and for your words of wisdom today. We're so grateful for them.
Yes. We're glad to be able to do it. It was a great experience.
Thank you so much. And thank you to our audience for joining us today on this episode of Hope in the Face of Cancer. If you know someone facing cancer today, we encourage you to share this episode with them. And if you or someone you love would benefit from having a survivor like Leonard by your side in your cancer journey, please reach out to CanCare today and request the support of one of our incredible volunteers. You can find us at www.cancare.org. If you're a survivor or a cancer caregiver and you want to give back and provide hope to someone facing cancer like Leonard has, we would love to have you join our volunteer community. And if you would like to make it possible for someone facing cancer to have a survivor by their side, you can donate today at cancare.org. We'll see you next time on Hope in the Face of Cancer. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Hope in the Face of Cancer, a survivor by your side. If you or someone you know is facing cancer or is supporting a loved one through their journey, we invite you to share this podcast. Thank you for your support in our efforts in the cancer community. No one should face cancer alone.